So my first question, Secretary, is how many people that work in Homeland Security have been accountable for breaking the law? And first off, do you believe that the government looking at private messages on Twitter is a violation of the law?
Senator, we don't censor a speech, so I want to nip that misimpression in the bud. We don't do that, and I should say that the personnel of the Department of Homeland Security, not only the more than 260,000 personnel, not only have unflinching dedication to mission,
so nobody's violating the law?
But also have unflinching loyalty to the law that they enforce.
So let me ask, let's start real simple then. Is the border secure? Is Hunter Biden's laptop not real? Was the Afghanistan withdrawal a success? Or was the Chinese spy balloon a problem? Do you believe any of those are, the Biden administration said all those things.
Senator, let me say this. We are extraordinarily dedicated to the security.
Secretary, I know, look, I'm not going to suggest you're not dedicated, but let's just go to the facts. The Biden administration has said all those things, and now Elon Musk has been clear that the Biden administration has had access to private messages on Twitter messages. Okay, so step one, do you believe it's right for the government to be reviewing private messages on Twitter?
So, Senator, if I may, I have to defer to law enforcement investigative agencies that might do that in the course and scope of a criminal investigation. I will share with you, as a former federal prosecutor for 12 years, we do have tools at our disposal when we are investigating a criminal case to do certain things. That is not within the remit of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, so I can only speak now to the work that we in the Department of Homeland Security do. I will share with you, with respect to the Chinese spy balloon, if it's the one to which I think you refer, that we shot it down because of the concern we had with respect to its purpose and identity.
So you're comfortable that, other than a criminal investigation, that nobody at Homeland Security was reviewing private messages on Twitter?
To my knowledge, Senator, that is the case, and what I'd like to do, because you raise a very important issue, because I can assure you that it is not our job, nor do we do it, to censor speech. What we do is we assess the threat landscape that this country confronts so that we can secure the homeland and protect the American people. That's what we do. And our Office of Intelligence and Analysis has a responsibility which it fulfills to understand that threat landscape, to understand what the threats are that we face.
How many people do this? How many people work at DHS doing this?
So I would have to take a look at the number of personnel within the Office of Intelligence and Analysis. I'd rather not. Okay. I'd rather not guess, but we have an extraordinary, relatively now, new leader of the Office of Intelligence and Analysis.
So number one, nobody at Homeland Security has been reviewing text messages or Twitter files except in criminal investigation.
As I said before, Senator, I want to be perfectly accurate so that I address the concern that you have.
If they did, would you fire them?
Oh, Senator, please allow me to explain. I don't know the specific contours of the law in this discrete area. I can assure you that we comply with the law, and any failure to,
right?
If I may, and any failure to comply with the law would be addressed appropriately.
Do you think it's right on a non-criminal investigation for somebody to be looking at private Twitter files? Do you think that's right?
Senator, if you're asking for my opinion, which is not informed by the law, which is, and please understand that I, as a former federal prosecutor, precision and accuracy are quite important to me. I would be concerned with that activity. I would share your concern.
Has anybody that you know of ever been fired at Homeland Security for violating anybody's First Amendment rights?
I don't know the answer to your question, Senator.
You think anybody has?
All I can tell you is this, that I have tremendous admiration for the workforce of the Department of Homeland Security. I have tremendous admiration for their integrity. I have tremendous admiration for their dedication to mission. And if in fact, someone acted inappropriately, I can assure you that does not reflect the character of the entire workforce.
One thing, one thing that surprised me up here is the fact that it's very difficult for anybody to ever hold anybody accountable for violating the law. I mean, on so many areas, I'm just fascinated that we don't do that. So, is anybody at Homeland Security, or is Homeland Security funding artificial intelligence technology that assists in any way of censoring Americans online?
Senator, not to my knowledge, we don't do that. But let me when you speak of holding people accountable, Homeland Security Investigations, the main criminal investigative agency within the Department of Homeland Security, does an extraordinary job in holding people accountable for criminal activity, whether it's in drug trafficking, online child sexual exploitation, human trafficking, the theft of intellectual property. So many different areas. We hold perpetrators accountable and also rescue victims and enable them to become survivors and move on with their life. I'm incredibly proud to support those personnel.
I think you should. My only question is have you ever held anybody accountable at the agency? I think the agency does a lot of great things. I guess my question is, does anybody ever get held accountable if they do something wrong?
They do indeed.